butterfly sweep, and then we'll look at a couple different options from there. Nabil, can I use you again today? So for the most part, on Tuesday we looked at our basic butterfly sweep. I pretty much consider anything in this like seated position with my feet together a butterfly guard, regardless of whether my partner's on his knees or standing. So knowing that, I want to sit upright, and Nabil will probably want to put me flat. So we're going to start here again today, just so we can practice extending our partner away and building to a stronger butterfly position. So if Nabil's covering my hips and his head's low, I need to get a cross frame. I need to lift my hips up so that my hand will slide underneath to his shoulder, so I can double up 2 hands on the shoulder. You can put your hand in the collar too, but for the most part, I just want 2 hands on his shoulder. I'm going to use my arms, my legs, and my core all together to do somewhat of an explosive like sit-up to create space. Like this, okay? I'm going to keep the cross frame on his shoulder, but my same side hand is going to go through the floor. From here, I'm going to circle my hips away from the cross frame, and then I'm going to use that to pummel for my underhook. So from here, my elbow is just going to, from the elbow down really, just going to swivel to an underhook, grabbing the belt, connecting my head nice and tight to Nabil's chest here. At this point, I'm still hooking him with my butterfly hook to make sure he doesn't step back. But when I go for my sweep, this hook isn't going to stay as a butterfly hook. I'm actually going to use my toes on the floor to kind of bridge face down. My head needs to be lower than Nabil's head, and that's kind of the value of this cross frame. We looked at it on Tuesday as well, is with my hands in the collar, and I wanted to get my head lower than his, but he beats me in that fight. Then I can potentially start attacking the neck with my loop choke, sometimes guillotines. But if I can get my head positioning under his head here, then I'm usually going to be able to complete the butterfly sweep. My left hand is going to occupy his arm here, so you could grab the wrist, or kind of like a shallow overhook. I like to grab the elbow and pinch his wrist nice and tight to my ribs, so I know he can't use his hand on the floor as a post. Now from here, I'm going to curl that dead butterfly hook, heel to my butt, and I'm going to start to fall almost like forward. Realistically, when he's putting pressure into me, I'll end up just falling to my side, but if I overshoot going forward, it's just a good way to ensure that he doesn't put me flat on my back. Now watch the bottom leg. As I start to fall and touch my shoulder to the floor, if I just stop here and just kick him over, he's going to land into my side control. So I need to use the bottom toes here to bridge. And I keep my butterfly hook all the way to the end here. Even if he holds my ankle in like a 3/4 mount, I'm still in a good position to pass the guard. So I purposely keep the butterfly hook to staple him all the way to this side of his hip. And now from here, I could either lift my hips up and start to knee cut across, or I could pummel for my second underhook and use my leg work to prime my ankle free all the way to mount. Okay, so again, another angle. This should be a review for most of us. Starting in our compromised, flattened out position here. I lift my hips to get a cross frame, extend him away, keeping the cross frame on the shoulder. My same side hand goes behind me, and then now I can circle away from that cross frame, getting my head in tight and grabbing my underhook. I try and grab the belt. If the belt wasn't there, I'm just hugging the fabric. The belt is really strong, so I can really like frame and flare my elbow nice and wide here. But if it's not there, I'm just hugging his back. My head's tight to the chest, collecting the arm, and really trying to prevent my elbow from touching the floor. If you start to go and your elbow hits, it's going to kill your momentum here, and it's going to feel very hard to continue with my sweep. So I make sure my elbow's tight to my hip, and then when I fall, I go straight to my shoulder. Now I can use the toes on the bottom floor to guide him all the way over, pummeling for my underhook, adding in my leg work, finishing him out. One more time, let's go different angles so you can see the leg work here. So hips up, cross frame, extending him away, circling to the side, getting my underhook on my belt grip, collecting his arm, and again, really emphasize the bottom toes on the floor as I fall, using those to guide him over, getting my second underhook, and to mount, or knee cut into side control. Let's try this, guys, 1, 2. So there's a couple different ways we can counter this reaction, but we're going to kind of choose to isolate and attack the shoulder while we start our butterfly sweep. The reaction I need from my partner on top is not enough just to put their hand to the floor to post, but I'm even going to use my leg to catch my balance, and that's going to give my partner the reaction he needs to start to secure my shoulder. So as the person on top, this is what I want. Once Nabil gets his underhook, the belt grip, and starts to collect my arm, I need more than just my hand going to the floor. That's definitely going to help, but I'm probably going to need to base out my right leg. So as Nabil goes for his sweep, I just need this, where I post it to my foot and my hand is on the floor. Most of your weight, if I'm being honest, is in your foot here, but this hand over the shoulder is definitely going to help you keep your balance. If I don't put the hand, see how it starts to dip my shoulder to the floor, and Nabil probably, we'll still complete the sweep. So I want both from you guys now. Partner on top needs to base the leg and their hand over the shoulder to the floor. And that's a very common reaction you're gonna find in butterfly. It's gonna help us set up our next set of sweeps here. This isn't the only way we can attack this like shoulder crunch position. Sometimes you'll find it right off the bat from your underhook. I could just switch from my underhook to trying to secure the shoulder. But I definitely like to set up from my butterfly sweep first. If we can just get the initial sweep, then why switch to our second attack? But as I start to go for my sweep here, he goes up on his leg and posts his shoulder. So from here, I'm gonna secure his shoulder. So I just switched from the belt to over his shoulder, and my hand that was trying to trap his arm is just gonna gable grip, and I'm pinching my neck and my shoulder together. Now, because he based this foot out nice and wide, that's actually gonna give us space to use my bottom foot. Instead of my toes on the floor, I'm just gonna take my leg out. It doesn't even need to be like super deep like a scissor sweep. I'm just gonna literally use the arch of my foot with the toes. And I'm gonna continue my butterfly sweep with a little bit of like a scissor sweep chop with my left leg. So as I continue butterfly sweep, I just touch his leg, and that's gonna help me take him all the way over here, okay, into mount, and most likely with the arm isolated. Even if I get to like a position here where I'm on my side, if this is a scramble, because I have the underhook, I should win this. If we play this out, come on top, Nabil. It's very easy for me to power my way on top because I'm the one who has the underhook. So we're actually going to look at two sweeps off of this reaction. I can continue to take him this way, but if I feel like his balance is so good that even with my foot on his knee or on his leg, I can't sweep him over, then we can also go back the other way. The only contingency for going back this way is with my shoulder control, I need to get my forearm underneath Nabil's neck. So it's kind of mean, but I want my elbow and forearm under his chin so that as I go back the other way, I can like lift his chin in the air. And then that's gonna make it a lot easier to sweep back to this side. In terms of preference, once you secure the shoulder, you can decide to go either way. I just think while I'm already going this way, I might as well try one more time, and then I can always go back. But if you prefer going back this way, I do think it's a stronger sweep, so it's really up to you in terms of how you want to prioritize which direction. But either way, I get to my cross frame, I circle, I get my belt grip, head's tight to the chest, I secure the arm, I go for my sweep, he posts his leg out. There are other counters too where I could try and scoop under the leg to go to X guard, but sometimes as I try and reach for this, he might be able to kick his leg back. So instead of going for the pant, we're just gonna go for the shoulder. So I go from the belt to over the shoulder, connecting my hands to a gable grip, so I'm pinching the shoulder tight and then also pinching my own neck and shoulder. Now from here again, I could just continue my butterfly sweep. I could take my leg out and use it to chop anywhere along this leg here. And if I feel like I go and I can't quite get it, then I'll pull myself back flat, dig my elbow underneath Nabil's chin, and then I'm gonna take him back the other way here as well. Okay, so again, you could go either direction. It's really up to you in terms of how you prioritize going either direction, but both are powerful sweeps. So again, cross frame, circle to the side, get my belt, head connected, I go for my sweep, and this is also good practice for my partner on top when giving a good defensive reaction in butterfly. As I go, he posts his leg and his shoulder or his hand to the mat over my shoulder. So from here, I lock the shoulder in place, and then I have a couple options. I could start to use my leg to chop as I butterfly sweep, take him over this way, or if I can't get that or I don't even feel safe going for this, I can use my toes to the floor, bring myself flat, dig my elbow under the chin, and now I can take him back the other way. So in terms of adjusting to go from one side to the other, if I go for my first sweep here and it's not working, I can use my toes on the floor to pull myself flat, and then I'm almost switching my elbows so I can take him back the other way. Any questions? Let's try this guy's one too. We can chain off too as well. So for specific, my partner's gonna let me get very deep. He's gonna let me get all the way to my belt grip. So he's gonna let me get to here, okay? And the only stipulation for my partner on top is for the first round, I don't even want you to pass. I just want you to float and try and survive, try and keep your balance so it lets me work my options. But some of the other things we didn't really even talk about is once I get my shoulder crunch or my shoulder clamp, which you could just do from here, by the way. If I have the underhook, instead of going for the original butterfly sweep, I could right away start to secure the shoulder, pinching tight, and then using this to set up my attacks. A couple things we can do from here. If his head is nice and low here, then I can start to take my legs out and start setting up triangles and arm bars. If he plants one of his feet on the floor, I can use that to start to go to single leg X2. So if I feel Nabil post his foot on the floor, Yeah, whatever leg. Either way, I can use that to like stretch through and get to single leg X. Okay, I could bail out and go to my cross frame and start going for my loop chokes. With this one, I want to already start deep here, so that's probably less likely. But start looking for your butterfly sweeps. You have the option to go single leg X and X guard if he steps a leg up. And one option too that we didn't really get to play with yet today is if I start to clamp his shoulder, sometimes I can just submit him with this attack from here. If you want to try and work the shoulder lock or the arm bar from here, then I'll just use the butterfly hooks to kind of push Nabil away, and I'll just start to get up to my elbow. I can scoot my hips back and even slide my shoulder clamp high to his tricep and start to bite down to attack the arm as well. So I don't want to limit you with just the butterfly sweeps. If you see other submissions or options, you can definitely take those as well. But for the first round on top, we're not even trying to pass. Let's say you're going 30 to 50%, trying to keep your balance close on the floor. Try to make them work for the sweep. Make sense? 1, 2.